I'm Sophia, and today I will be talking about the book Life in Motion by Misty Copeland. This book is about an underprivileged African American girl who, against all odds, becomes a ballet prodigy and now dances as a principal dancer with the ABT, one of the most prestigious schools in the country. The ballet world was, and still is, extremely competitive and very difficult to succeed in. Being an underprivileged African American girl made it even more difficult for Misty. Nearly all ballerinas were, and still are, white, and many people wanted it to stay that way. When Misty became the first ever African American principal dancer with the ABT, she not only did it for herself, but for all the other dancers struggling to succeed because of their race. The ballet world was, and still is, extremely competitive and very difficult to succeed in. Being an underprivileged African American girl, it made it even more difficult for Misty. Nearly all ballerinas were, and still are, white, and many people wanted it and still want it to be that way. When Misty became the first ever African American principal dancer to dance with the ABT, she not only did it for herself, but for all the other dancers struggling because of their race. Misty discusses this in the first chapter of her book that I will read an excerpt from. The ordinary rituals of my day belie what will be an extraordinary evening. I am eager for this day to start so that later I can rise again, this time on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera House. Tonight I will become the first Black woman to star in Igor Stravinsky's iconic role for American Ballet Theatre, one of the most prestigious dance companies in the world, as the Firebird. This is for the little brown girls. Misty repeats that last phrase many times throughout the book, relaying her message that everyone should have an equal chance to succeed in dance. You should be judged based on how hard you work and your talent, not by the color of your skin. Most would agree that Misty is an amazing dancer. She has a wonderful and unique grace and stage presence. Most professional ballerinas start their training at age 3 or 4, dancing hours and hours a week until they are hired. Misty, however, had a very different experience. She took her first dance class at age 13. She had much less experience than other dancers, yet she was one of the lucky few to be chosen as a prima ballerina. Misty obviously must have extreme talent to have reached these amazing heights. But it was more than that. It was her determination to prove to herself and her family that she could accomplish her goals and dreams despite the financial and racial inequalities she experienced. As a child, Misty lived a very unsteady life. Her mother was single and poor, so her family was constantly moving from place to place, from boyfriend to boyfriend. Just when they were settled in, they would have to get up and leave again. Many of the boyfriends were drunks and had racist views. She had some traumatizing experiences as a result, one of which I will read. Misty may have had a hard childhood, but she is a stronger person because of it. She is not your average dancer. She knows what it's like to be poor, unstable, and not knowing where your next meal will come from. She can relate to other children presently struggling with the same issues and inspire them to live their dream. Something you may not know about Misty is that she grew up here in the Los Angeles area, and her studios are places you may have passed by many times before without a second thought. Another thing you may not know about Misty is that she has her own campaign for Under Armour, as well as a movie called A Ballerina's Tale. In the weeks leading up to Misty's performance of The Firebird, she learned that she had suffered a stress fracture in her leg, and dancing on it could possibly end her career for good. Does Misty pull through and dance, or does she play it safe and not take the opportunity? You'll have to read the book and see. Thank you for watching!